Namaskar. Warm greetings to you all from India. As you all know, I'm Padmaja Iyengar-Paddy, your host and dost. Dost means friend in the Hindi language. For this, the 27th International Poetry Meet, facilitated by our friend Neelam Saxena. And she's a truly a multifaceted, multitasking personality, a serving bureaucrat holding a high ranking position in the government of India, a renowned poet, a short story writer, and a novelist of repute, and a winner of several awards. A warm welcome to you, Neelam, into this
Thank you.
StreamYard studio into which you have let all of us. And before I move further, here's a brief introduction, formal introduction about Neelam Saxena. Neelam Saxena has to her credit 6 novels, 9 short story collections, 40 poetry collections, and 15 children's books. That's truly an impressive array of published works, I must say. Neelam is a bilingual writer, writing in English and Hindi. She holds 3 records, the Limca Book of Records, published by Coca Cola India. She is a recipient of several awards and honors, notably the Sohanlal Dwivedi Puraskar for Children's Literature 2018, instituted by the Maharashtra State Hindi Sahitya Academy, and then the Premchand Award from the Ministry of Railways, the Government of India, and then Ravindranath Tagore International Poetry Award, and the Freedom Award by Radio City for Best Lyrics. She was listed in the Forbes as one among the 78 most popular authors in the country in 2014. Hi, Neelam. Welcome once again. I
Thank
request you to
you.
please deliver a short introductory address.
Good evening, friends. It is the pleasure of Neelam Saxena page to first of all have Paddy as the host and wonderful poets Gino, Maria, Yeton, and Sir Sampath, who will be rendering some beautiful poems today. So I'm sure the viewers would also be as excited. We already have a poet of repute, Satvi Chadda, who has already joined us. So looking forward for a wonderful session.
Thank you, Neelam. Thanks very much. Now I'll introduce all our poets who have joined us here, our guest poets today, by reading their bio, and then we can have a poetry session. We'll start with Dr. Jeton Kelmendi, professor of AAB University College, Pristina, Kosovo. He is a poet, playwright, publicist, author, translator, publisher, and a recipient of several international awards. He is an active member of the European Academy of Science and Arts in Salzburg, Austria. His poems have been translated into more than 27 languages and published in several international literature anthologies. He is the most translated Albanian poet and well known in Europe. The wisdom of his work in the field of literature is reflected in the attention that he pays to the poetic expression, modern exploration of the text, and the depth of the message. A warm welcome to you once again, Dr. Yeton Kelmendi. I am now delighted and honored to welcome a dear friend, poet, and a leading personality from Italy, Dr. Maria Miraglia. And here are a few words in introduction about Dr. Maria. Dr. Maria A. Miraglia from Italy is an educationist, a widely published bilingual poet, translator, essayist, and a ministerial lecturer for English language teachers. She graduated in foreign languages, got 2 master's degrees and HLC from Trinity College of Edinburgh and the International House of London. For long, an active member of Amnesty International of several other humanitarian organizations, and herself the founder of the World Foundation for Peace, Dr. Maria Miraglia is the literary director of the P. Neruda Cultural Association and a member of many editorial boards. Her poems have been translated into more than 30 languages. She is the recipient of numerous awards and honors, notably her recent nomination as a member of the European Academy of Science and Arts, Salzburg. Hi, Arya. Welcome to the StreamYard studio and Neelam Saxena. poetry meet today. It gives me immense joy and pleasure, and it's truly an honor for me to welcome another dear friend and renowned poet from Germany, Gino Leineweber. Hi, Gino, welcome. As a poet, Gino Leineweber settles down in Australia. As he settles down, here's a brief bio about him. Gino Leineweber has been working as a poet, writer, and translator since 1990. He led the Hamburg Authors Association for 12 years, subsequently being appointed as its honorary chairman in 2014. In between, he was the editor of the magazine Buddhistische Monat, I got it right, also known as BM, for 6 years. From 2013 to 2020, he served as the president of the Three Seas Writers and Translators Council, TSWTC, based in Rhodes, Greece, and is currently a board member of the PEN, Center German Speaking Authors Abroad, formerly German Exile PEN. He regularly publishes non-fiction that includes travel writing, biographies, and poetry. His poetry has won numerous international awards. He writes in German and English. He also translates prose and poetry from English to German. For the unversed, PEN originally stood for Poets, Essayists, Novelists, but now it stands for Poets, Playwrights, Editors, Essayists, Novelists. Am I right, Gino? And includes writers of any form of literature, such as journalists and historians as well. PEN or PEN is a community of writers which was founded in London around 1921 with the objective of promoting friendship and intellectual cooperation among writers across the globe. Its first members included such literary giants as Joseph Conrad, Elizabeth Craig, George Bernard Shaw, and H.G. Wells. We say in India, Atithi Devo Bhava. So we have invited and welcome all our guests from overseas with Atithi Devo Bhava, which means guest is equivalent to God. It's now the turn of our Indian guest to be welcomed. I'm truly honored and delighted to welcome Sir Sampath Kumar from Kolkata, India. Here are a few lines in introduction about him. Sir S. Sampath Kumar writes from his heart, fearlessly chastising all powers that be for the crimes against humanity and, in particular, against women. He also enjoys delving into the innermost hidden traumas and travails of special people, women in particular, in his own inimitable style. He is the author of a mixed range of publications, which include coffee table books, English novels, treatises, books on self development, and of course, anthologies of English and Tamil poems. He was awarded the Knighthood of the Order of Italian Solidarity, the second highest civilian award in Italy. Sir Sampath Kumar is also an avid blogger with the interesting French pseudonym uh, Entrepide Voix. I hope I got the French pronunciation right, meaning the fearless voice. Sir Sampath Kumar, welcome to Neelam Saxena's 27th International Poetry Meet.
And now it is my turn to introduce our host for the day, Padmaja Iyengar-Paddy, with whom we started these international sessions, I think 2 years ago or more than 2 years
Yes,
ago.
yes, around 2 years ago.
So, Padmaja Iyengar-Paddy, a senior ex-banker and a former urban governance consultant, is currently president Connecting Borders and vice president of Poetry India International. Her poetry collection, Pen Chants, has been recognized by the Indian Book of Records. A recipient of several awards and prizes, Paddy has compiled and edited six international multilingual poetry anthologies, of which Amravati Poetry Prism 2016 to 2019 have been recognized by the Limca Book of Records as poetry anthology in most languages. Amravati Poetry Prism 2019 showcases 1,303 poems in 225 languages by over 771 poets from 86 countries. Paddy's poetry collection, Penchants Again, has been recently published. So, welcome, dear Paddy.
Thank you. Thank you, Neelam, for that lovely introduction. And now we'll get into our business session, which is the poetry read by all of us. Um, Owing to limited time, we are not going into the question answer session, and straight away we'll read our poems. I welcome our distinguished poet, Professor Dr. Jeton Kelmendi from Albania, to please read his poem. Professor Jeton Kelmendi.
Thanks a lot. It is my deep pleasure to be with wonderful friends and poets from different countries, different cultures. I know, fortunately, all of you, and I am proud of you. I will read just a poem titled "Love in a Wartime." Sometime I want them to happen differently. These things, for example, I wish a heavy fog surrounded me until the border is easily passed. To pass there, first of all, where a few moments ago I saw a woman with a curly hair, only seeing her and later dreaming about her, I fell in love. But in the end, this is a war and we don't know the future. Every day finishing with death. These stories that someone or another fell for the freedom, or other news such as the enemy was destroyed. These are daily routines. Perhaps that he desires love in a wartime. That friend will think you are stupid. But even in the firest of soldier will never stop thinking about love. I have experienced it in myself. In a time of war, God knows when the end might come. Perhaps neither time has space for love. Time has its toll, but what if everyone would plan to death? Who would be harvesting love? A poet thinks that the greatest loves are born in the time of war. Perhaps, perhaps by exceeding the imagination of a biblical story or even the most illustrious stories of Lorca and Hemingway. Simply, love is another war. It's an infinite war. Even the longest war, something else hurt. So, and afterwards, continues. I came to myself and I went back again to myself thinking of love, but love in a wartime, I don't know what meaning has. Definitely, love is love, and always, love can win and should win from the war, from another war, from whatever war. Thanks a lot. Thanks to everyone.
Wonderful poem.
That's
Wonderful
that's
poem.
a very touching poem. Also, it touches the core of one's heart. That's a very beautiful poem, Dr. Eton Kelmendi. Thank you so much. I now invite our renowned poet from Italy, Dr. Maria Miraglia to please read her poem.
Okay. Like the title is Like a Petal of a White Rose. Light, my soul, like a petal of a white rose, suspended between the sky and sea, in the uncertain air of the early morning. Distant, the wild noises, still sleeping the birds. The sea is calm, silent the winds, and me, freely hovering, curious, observe the dim colors of dawn, the first lights of the day shyly peeking through the dark mantle of the night. Draw imaginary sceneries on the expanse of the blue, where, like an old wanderer about, solitary goes. The silence is a divine tune in the void, full of the immensity, a part of it I feel to be. This is Paddy. I sent you two poems. I read the first one. It is sufficient.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. The
Okay.
second one will, in the second round, we'll be reading. Thank you, Maria. There'll be
With
one more
pleasure.
round of you, and we'll be invited to read the second poem. Thank you so much.
Second point. Okay.
Very nice poem. Very
It's
nice
a very
poem.
nice poem, and I like the opening lines of your poem very much. Light my soul like a petal of a white rose. I think that's a very beautiful opening line for your well penned poem. Thank you, Maria. I now invite our distinguished poet, guest poet from Germany, uh, Gino Leinweber, to please read his poem. Over to you, Gino. Please unmute your mic.
So now I say it again. It's an honor for me to be here. And I also sent you two poems. I read only one, that's right?
The first poem you read now, in the second round, you can read your second poem.
Okay.
There are 2 rounds of
So
poetry reading.
I have two poems from my last book, from my last poetry book, with the title Everything is True, and the title of the poem is Funeral.
Yeah.
Make sure I will be buried on a day like this, when the sun needs time to arrive, weary almost from arising, but eager to dry the tears of the night, ardent to embrace the happy day, kisses with glossy lips, the colored leaves, those the wind will cause the jeans to fly. Make sure I will be buried on a day like this.
Again, the closing line
Congratulations.
of your poem, we know the wind will cause the jeans to fly. Make sure I'll be buried on a day like this. It's such a touching and moving poem that sounds both like your death wish and also like a kind of requiem that you've written for yourself, right?
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very touching. Very touching.
Very touching poem. Thank you so much. Now let's hear the poetry. Let's hear his poetry from Sir Sampath Kumar. He's a much respected poet from Kolkata, India. Over to you, Sir Sampath Kumar.
Indian laws are being changed.
Yes.
The criminal laws are being amended, but the marital rapes are not being touched. So the trauma of women is not limited to women alone. Men can also empathize. And the
Yes,
deficit of
definitely.
empathy I am trying to make up with one of my poems. I fear
Thank
no
you.
more. Yeah, a traumatized wife is saying this. There he lies, dead, my husband, reeking of alcohol, an overdose of it all over him, bloodied. I was widowed, young, with a girl in my arms when he appeared as an angel. Marriage was a shield, and the girl grew up fast. The man would bring in women, each day a new one, until one night I hear shrieks. My daughter was to be his woman. Here I walk with a sickle. Sickle is the thing with which you cut, and his bloodied, dangling head. The crowd moves away in fear, like the same fear I had felt all my life. I throw the head on the policeman's table and laugh at them jumping away. Guilty. The verdict is swift. I worry not for my girl. I had left with her another sharp sickle. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Sampath Kumar. That's a,
Very,
what shall I
very
say, a heart-rending poem, I would say, but at the same time, it depicts a reality. And as a woman, and I think as a woman, Neelam and Maria too will very much relate to this poem because these are happenings everywhere. Thank you, Sir Sampath Kumar, for that very sensitively penned poem. Thank you so much. And now I invite Neelam to please read her poem. Over
Thank
to you,
you,
Neelam.
Paddy. Thank you, Paddy. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Uh, so I'll be rendering my first poem on riparian rights. It's titled Stray Dogs. Stray dogs too need water. I take a bowl full to the brim and place it on the ground below our tall building. Skinny, lanky, gaunt dogs rush to have their sip, engrossed in their activity of drinking. Suddenly, a stout, rowdy, but pampered dog arrives on the scene, bulldozes others to run away with its loud bark, and they timidly hide themselves, while the pampered one has its fill. One who could have got its water from its masters too. After a few days, I go to a resort when I hear commotion and go out silently, wondering what it is all about. The story is the same. The characters have changed. The resort owner is using the water of the river nearby for all sorts of purposes drinking, boating, water sports, while the poor farmers are fighting for their riparian water rights. Alas, the haves and have nots still have a barbed line with a valve which only the former can cross. The latter scream and squawk but get nothing. Damn the rights. Damn the system. We are all stray dogs fighting for what we shall never get. Thank you.
A very thought-provoking poem.
Congratulations.
It's absolutely
Wonderful
wonderful.
point.
That's a wonderful poem, and you have, employed the very excellently employed the metaphor of dogs to depict the persistent haves and have-nots divide in I think every society, not just the Indian society. Thank you so much, Neelam, for that poem. And now,
Now, may I invite you, Paddy, to render your poem? You know, your poems
sure.
are always short but thought provoking. And I
Thank
suppose you will be speaking something about the about a child and the son.
you.
So
Yes,
I'm
yes.
very keen on
Yes.
knowing about
Yes.
it.
Sure, sure. I wrote it when my grandchild was very small. She was hardly a few months old, around 8 to 10 months old when I wrote this poem. Now she's a 15-year-old. Um, the title of the poem is The Child and the Sun. As the child sieves the sun with her palms, her bright eyes shine with the joy of a new discovery. The interplay of rays from the child's palms and the sun make me wonder which shines brighter, the sun or the child's eyes. Thus went on the game of shining brighter and brighter. Tired, as the sun moves to the west, the child too closes her eyes to rest. Thank you.
Very
Thank
nice,
you.
very nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, with this, we come to the conclusion of our first round of reading. Now we'll go for the second round of poetry reading. To cut the monotony, maybe we'll change the calling order a little bit. So, it's now my pleasure to invite my friend Maria Miralia to please read a poem.
Okay, with pleasure. I
Thank
listened
you, Maria.
to your poems. I was enchanted. Okay, the title of my short poem is A Cry. A Cry. You arrive bringing with you all the secrets of the long journey, locked up for months in a home, waiting for the moment of the liberating cry that says you made it, that you are here, that you are. Everything else will not be told to you. You will only experience it on your skin, on your body, in your mind. Winds will pass through you until make you falter, fall, and maybe get you back up again. And the end will come, and you won't have understood.
Very nice poem, Maria. That's a lovely poem. Thank you so much for sharing your thought provoking and sensitively penned poem. And now I invite my friend Gino Weber to please read his poem.
Yeah, this poem has the title Sleep. Listen to the evening wind's music, looking forward to the night's kisses from her cryptic mouth that holds you with her hidden hand. On the way to bed, you are like a child who bravely awaits it as a tangible comfort. You are used to sounds in the midnight gaze, which ease the pain and mend your broken heart. Caresses of sleep, playing with your unwillingness, and provide you a serene awakening. Thank you.
Beautiful. What a lovely poem. Thank you so much, Gino. That's a poem we can relate to very well because the sleep is something all of us,
Yeah,
relate to. That's a beautiful poem. Thank you so much. Now I
you're welcome.
invite uh, Yeton to please read his poem. Dr. Yeton Kelmendi to please read his poem.
Yeah, thank you. My short poem is titled Abbreviation Distance. Overnight tonight, the happy day of tomorrow. Beyond tomorrow, again another night, I am closer to you, and You dream, I dream each other, you dream me. We look forward to each other as we run away from ourselves. So the time is looking at us as it measures our distance day and night. There lives you and my thoughts. Here, me and your thoughts. Who is coming the days? Tonight we are one night closer. Closer to thoughts, how everybody should be. How does it look? You and me, my dear, we have a world, completely different world. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeton. That's a wonderful
Wonderful,
poem.
wonderful.
Yes, yes, yes. I now invite Sir Sampath Kumar to please read his poem.
Thank you. Before I start, I must thank Paddy and Neelam for giving me this opportunity to be amongst so
Pleasure,
many distinguished poets. Thank you very much.
completely
This
a
again
pleasure.
is on a deficit of empathy of a different kind.
Yes,
This is about a violinist on a pavement. We have seen when we walk, we see violinists playing in many cities. The clock strikes 8. The mist has not lifted. It is cold and windy. The pavement is still wet. A few hours it will be for the clouds to clear. The old man cannot wait. It is like day, any other. He spreads his wares, a tool to sit on, his hat to collect coins, if at all, by a few kind hearted. Those who care to slow are a few, stopping to listen for a minute or two. Some rush on, throwing the coins, unconcerned if it landed near or far. The old man is playing, now a creation of Mozart, with fullest passion, with tears in his eyes. None notice nor bother. Neither does it bother the player. The few pennies they throw end their warmth and wash their sins. Thank you.
thank you,
That
Sir Sampath
was
Kumar.
that was
It's
again
a
very powerful.
very powerful, yes. And also, you know, we see lot of musicians, highly talented musicians playing on the roads. In fact, I've seen this very much more so in during my travels abroad, you know, where they play the violin and many other instruments on the street, and people just throw a few coins and walk away. And I sometimes feel it's such an insult of the art that they have, you know. So it's a very thought provoking and a very touching poem, Sir Sampath Kumar.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. God bless.
I thank you. I now invite Neelam to please read her poem, second poem.
I'll have to just speak a line about the poem. This is about a statue that was found during excavation of Harappan civilization. This was found at Mohenjo-daro, and this figurine had lot of bangles on its left hand. So, with this background, let me come to my poem. This was a statue of a dancing girl, and hence the title of the poem, The Dancing Girl. Hey, dancing girl, from where did you get that poise? Were you a pirouetting peahen, born in disguise? When I glance at your photograph, I feel that you will just come out, watch at my unsteady swaying, and to be better at my steps, shout. I wonder about the great sculptor who chiseled you with such perfection. Every expression he has captured with so much of adoration. Was he in love with you? Or was it just a piece of art? You did have something in you, or dancing princess, that even time disguise.
I think we've lost the connectivity.
I've
The
just a
link got
question on your left.
I think we've lost connectivity.
the
Neelam?
link got disconnected.
Yeah, the link seems to have got disconnected. Neelam, please come again.
Or were you a mere puppet? So that was my poem, The Dancing Girl.
Yeah. We missed the second half of your poem completely because we lost you completely, the connectivity. So, would you mind repeating the second
Oh,
part of your poem? Yeah, we
Mm.
completely
okay. I'll
lost you.
quickly render. Yeah, I'll quickly render the entire one. Hey,
Yeah.
dancing girl, from where did you get that poise? Were you a pirouetting peahen born in disguise? When I glance at your photograph, I feel that you will just come out, watch at my unsteady swaying, and to be better at my steps, shout. I wonder about the great sculptor who chiseled you with such perfection. Every expression he has captured with so much of adoration. Was he in love with you? Or was it just a piece of art? You did have something in you, O dancing princess, that even time couldn't discard. I have just a question to ask you, dear. Tell me about bangles on your arm left. Was your choice asked, or was it sculptor's delight? Was your choice asked, or was it sculptor's delight, or were you a mere puppet? So, this was my poem, The Dancing Girl.
Thank you, Neelam. Your poem raises a very important question at the end about the choices,
Yeah.
and if at all the women are allowed to exercise their choices. I mean, it's a very nice way that you ended your poem. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now I think, may I read my
You
poem?
know, it's
Yeah.
no,
Thank you.
I would love the honor to invite you. You know,
Thank you.
we mirages are not only found in the deserts; they are everywhere in our day-to-day life. So
True,
let's hear
true.
what Paddy has to say about mirages.
Yes. The title of my poem is Chasing a Mirage. We often chase many unrealistic goals, not realizing that they are different poles. We run hither and thither, chasing a flying feather. Sometimes the feather flies away, sometimes it just falls on the floor. Whether it flies or falls, a feather's just a feather. A feather flies in the direction of the air and actually has no direction of its own. A feather really has no flair to control its flight in the air. A feather needs to be fixed to a body to give it a distinct path and entity. Together, the body and the feather complement each other and fly together. How I'd love to be a bird's feather, to fly when the bird takes a flight, to several destinations unknown, on exciting journeys far and beyond. But I'm now back to the first line of this simple poem of mine about chasing unrealistic goals that are in two different poles. How can I be a bird's feather? It's just the flight of my own fancy. Let me keep my feet firmly fixed to the ground. I fly. Yes, I often do, but only on an aeroplane. Thank you.
Nice one, nice one. So let us thank our viewers. There have been so many viewers, but some of the viewers have been commenting all throughout our session. So I would like to thank Satbi Chandra, a wonderful poet, Purna Shah, who's a beautiful, who writes beautifully, Vinita Sharma ji, oh wow, her poems are really strong.
Awesome.
And
Yes.
so many others who have joined us. Thank you so much. Over to you, Paddy.
Yeah. I thank you, Neelam, for always being the gracious host. And also, on behalf of all of us, our appreciation and respect for you for organizing so many meets like these literary meets of small groups of poets and writers, and thus providing a platform to upcoming as well as established writers and poets to uh, present their poems and their works. And that's a human service you're doing to the cause of literature and poetry. Thank you very much, Neelam. And I take this opportunity to thank all my friends here, Gino, Sir Sampath, Yeton, Maria, for
Thank you.
coming here at such short notice and making this poetry reading session, I think, a grand success. Thank you all so
Thank,
much. It's
thank you.
such an
God
honor.
bless.
Thank,
Thank you.
thank you, Paddy. Thank you, Neelam. Thank you,
Thank
Paddy.
you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Neelam.
Thank
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you, everyone, and congratulations. I wish
Looking
you
forward
all
to
the
seeing
best.
you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Bye
Bye.
bye. It was a
Bye.
pleasure, a great
Bye from
pleasure
India. Thank you.
to be with you. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Good
ma'am.
luck.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye bye.
Same
Bye bye.
here, same here. It was wonderful.